Hello there, I'm Tom at Ledgemere. Welcome to day 3 of Tractor Week. Every day this week we're going to be doing one of my farm-all tractors. So today is the third day. This is the third tractor. This is the third oldest or third newest because it's in the middle. But this is the tractor that's in the middle. This is a 1956 farm-all 200, and that replaced the farm-all Super C, which you see right there. And there's really not a whole lot of difference other than sheet metal, just a little bit more horsepower, bigger tires. The serial number plate was moved from the toolbox on this tractor to the bell housing on this tractor. And while I got it in my hand, one of the things that you got with a brand new tractor back in the 40s and 50s was this little gadget right here. They called it a pisto luber. And before they had cartridges for grease, everybody had a bucket or a barrel of grease, and so this would be filled with bulk grease, and then you'd put this on your grease fittings and then pump it like that. This farm-all 200 I am the second owner of. This tractor was bought in Vermont, brand new in 1956. It spent its entire life in New Hampshire, and I bought it from the original owner's grandson. So that makes, I guess if you count the grandson temporarily owning it, that makes me owner number 3, but let's just say I'm the second owner. A few things about this tractor that kind of make it interesting is the hood's kind of bent down right here, and the story I got was that the farmer, it came with a giant set of 7-foot fast hitch harrows, disc harrows that go on the back. And these tractors with the 7-foot, they get a little light in the front, so the owner's wife would sit right here, and I don't know what she hung on to, but this is where she sat, and that's why she's dimpled down a little bit right here, because the farmer's wife rode on the hood of the tractor to give a little extra ballast on the front. And these old tractors, they've always got dents and dings in them. This one, something got hit here because the radiator is a little screwy, and there was a dimple here that I was able to pound out with a peen hammer. The grill was a little bit bent, and so I don't know what the story was. The brakes on it were mint when I bought it. The carburetor had just been overhauled. There was an international harvester mechanic that had tuned it all up, and this tractor needed absolutely nothing when I brought it home. And so this tractor came with a fast hitch sickle mower, the fast hitch 7-foot harrow, and a 2-bottom fast hitch set of plows, and of course the drawbar. The tractor has the optional fenders. The fast hitch has the flip up and fold away seat with the Easy Rider seat there with the Monroe shock. It's got the pancake lights on it, 6-volt positive ground. And so it has the 2 touch control units here for the left and right cultivators. So you can see there's 2 right here, and there's one on the other side. And that allows you to lift the back cultivators after you've already lifted the front. So you go to the end of your row, you pick up the front ones, and then after you complete with the back, you lift up the back ones. It also has these bars on it, which allows you, this one right here changes the pitch of the fast hitch from side to side, and this one right here will adjust the angle of the fast hitch from fore and aft. And this tractor did come with wider tires than the Super C did standard. The muffler was extra, all the weights were extra equipment. This one has an interesting, a taller oil fill, whereas the C is just the smaller one, and the gas caps are replacements from International. I've had this tractor since the end of 2017, so 4 years, and my wife now calls it my freedom tractor because I bought it after I divorced my first wife, and I had got done at court, and I went and bought this, kind of like my consolation prize. So this tractor, I didn't have the Super C at the time, and I got this one. I got a really good deal on it. The guy that I got it from, he was an undertaker, And you know, like I said, he was the grandson, but he was a really interesting guy. And so anyway, this is the tractor. Everything on it is original except for the seat that I changed, and I'm sure the tires, because I did not buy tires for it. These tires were replaced before I bought it, but as far as I know, everything on this tractor is original, and it was kept undercover. And this is the replacement for the Super C. It's only got about a half a horsepower more. It weighs maybe 400 more pounds, and I'm guessing it's because of the tires. And this is my guess, is they didn't sell too many of these. I think they only sold 17,000, where they sold 95,000 or so Super Cs, because probably the dealer was pretty hard up to push it when, you know, a farmer would come in and say, what do you got? And then he would ask the questions about what's the difference between this and my Super C I already have, and there wouldn't be much. But the styling was changed in the 1950s. This was a 1954 introduction to this tractor, and the cub was modified at that point to have the same kind of sheet metal and grill. The real, I think, heroes of this series were the 300 and 400 tractors, and then later they came out with because those tractors replaced the H and M. And in the mid 50s, and even now, you know, farmers were clamoring for more horsepower, more features, and the H had evolved into the Super H, and there were different stages of the Super H, and that became the 300, which had a torque amplifier. The battery was under the seat. It had live hydraulics. It was a fantastic tractor. And the 400 replaced the Super MTA, which had the torque amplifier. And so I think the real heroes of this series were the 3 and 400, and then the 100 replaced the Super A. And so there's not a lot of difference between the Super A and the 100 either. And so I think they just revamped the whole line. And about that time at International, they were pushing for sales more than at International. They had a new guy in charge then, and he was all sales oriented, so he wanted to just push, and then they had a lot of different International in the 1950s. They went a lot of different directions, and they have refrigerators and generators, cream separators, freezers, trucks, and then they went into the construction industry. So they were competing with Caterpillar, and so International in the 50s really went into a lot of different directions, and so they didn't make a lot of changes with this 200, and the 230 behind it had a little bit more horsepower because they cranked up the RPMs a little bit. But this tractor here, I just really like the styling of it, and it reminded me of the Super C, which I now have, but at the time this tractor kind of stood out. I like the chrome, and riding both of these tractors, they really feel the same to me. There's really not any difference as far as performance or how they ride or anything like that. When you look at the manual for the 200, it makes it a little easier to show you some of the things with the touch control that they had for the fast hitch. So here's your touch control here, but the hydraulic remote control. So right here, you'll see on the tractor, it's the hydraulic remote control lever, and you could use that right there to operate your cylinder that would lift the fast hitch. You could get an extension hose and put that on a trailing implement like shown here. They've got it going behind to raise and lower the plows. You can see the handles here, but with that remote cylinder attached, you can hydraulically from the tractor raise and lower your plows. This was what I was mentioning in one of my other videos about how you could put a pin in this rod here, put a block of wood under your drawbar, then you could raise the wheel off the ground to adjust your wheel tread in or out, and you just move the block from side to side to do each wheel. This right here is a little bit better view of the cylinder, so you can see the hoses coming off the back. This is where it normally would have the cylinder, and they've moved it back here, and this is a drag harrow so they can close and open the harrows. You know, one thing that's interesting about this book is it doesn't mention the hydro creeper. The hydro creeper was a special attachment that you could buy that would direct power through that remote cylinder, hydraulic power, through another hydraulic motor that would couple to the PTO. So you would hook this thing on the back of your tractor onto the PTO with the hoses attached to it, and through the gear shift you could have a whole nother set of range, basically another whole range of gears that were super slow, and it was designed for transplanting seedlings. They would, you know, if you had one of those carts that go behind the tractor for transplanting, we'd have two people sitting in it taking plants out of a box and putting them in the ground. You could go as slow as like a quarter-mile per hour, and the caveat to that is you had to have your foot on the clutch the whole time, disengaging the standard transmission drive shaft unit, otherwise it would conflict with the hydro creeper. So you had four normal gears with your gear shift lever, and then you had 4 more with the hydro creeper. If you'd like to see any of these tractors in action, I have a whole library full of them on our YouTube page. If you go to the main page for our YouTube channel and look at videos, you'll see the playlists, and look under tractors, you'll see all these tractors that I have all doing chores here on the farm. We'll talk to you next time. Thank you.